I feel like everyone wants to gain more followers on Instagram, and if that is you, then you've come to the right place, because in order to gain more followers, you need to get more exposure on the platform. So today we're going to talk about how you can get more exposure, some simple tips and tricks that you can use when it comes to posting your images on Instagram, as well as Instagram stories. Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Catherine, the creator of The Content Bug, and I'm here to help you follow your passion by growing your audience online. And today we're going to talk about how you can do that through Instagram. So let's get to the tips. The very first one I'm going to give you is actually a little bit obvious and something you've probably already known, and that is including location tags whenever you post an image on Instagram. Whenever you upload a new image, you want to make sure that you are including a location tag. But here's the thing. You don't want to make sure that you're including a location tag that is too specific. Let's say that you're going to a brand new coffee shop. No one's ever been there before, or maybe it's locally owned. No one uses it. They don't even have their own Instagram. No one has ever tagged that specific location on Instagram. Then it might not be very beneficial to use that location tag. That is when you want to include a general area. So maybe the town that you're in, the city you're in, or even the state that you're in if you really want to gain even more exposure. You just want to make sure that you are including a location tag because it is an extra opportunity for you to get more reach on Instagram. If you do not, you're reducing your reach, and that's not going to help you to get more followers in the long run. Tip number 2 is actually a little bit more technical. I'm not going to tell you that you need to just use hashtags, because everyone knows that you have to use hashtags on Instagram. If you want to get more exposure, include it in either the description or in the comment section down below after your description. Stuff your keywords in there, in your hashtags, and it's going to be a-okay. But if you really want to gain exposure on Instagram, what you should do is look up accounts that curate content and have a specific hashtag attached to them. So the best thing you can do is search your accounts that you already follow and see if any of them are curating content and if any of them share posts from a specific hashtag. If they do, include those hashtags in your post. You want to make sure that you are including them so that you can get reshared on someone else's platform, reach their followers, and hopefully get more followers for you. Here in Rochester, there are a few accounts that actually curate content just from Rochester people, so I make sure that in some of my photos I hashtag their hashtags, and I have actually gotten shared on their profiles before. So that is a great way to gain more exposure and put you in front of other people's followers, because right now your account is only being seen by your followers, and maybe if you appear on the explore page, on the location or hashtag, so you want to make sure that you are actually reaching outside of your little bubble right now and really put yourself out there to reach a larger audience. The next trick you might have seen people use before, or maybe you haven't, but if you ever go to like a successful YouTuber or blogger and you go to their tagged section on Instagram and you see what photos they're tagged in, you may notice that they're tagged in a ton of photos that aren't actually of them or aren't their photos. It's photos of other people, because those people are trying to gain exposure. So one thing you can do whenever you are uploading a new photo, you know how you can tag things directly in the image? Down in the right hand corner or in the top, you can start tagging a bunch of relevant accounts, as long as it is relatively relevant. So I mean, if you are a beauty blogger and you want to tag other successful beauty bloggers, it's really going to gain your exposure because it's going to put your photo on their profile. They may see it for one, which would be great, but as long as their followers are going to their tag section, they might see your photo. So you want to make sure that you're including relevant tags. You can include the products that are included in the image, the location that you are at, and then other successful accounts already out there so that your image gets put on their accounts. Now, this is kind of the same thing, but yet different, because this has to do with your description section. So whenever you upload an image, you want to tag people in the actual image, but you also want to tag people in the description that you are writing for the image, especially if you are specifically talking about something. So whenever I talk about Pinterest, I make sure that I tag Pinterest. Whenever I talk about Tailwind, I make sure that I tag Tailwind. I've talked about pop sockets before, and Apple, and just kind of a variety of different things, and whenever I talk about them, I tag them in the actual description to make sure that that image is actually getting sent to their notifications, and I have actually gotten reshares because of that. It's a good idea if you want to get reshares and you want to get people to share it on their profile, things that you are actually talking about in the image. So if you are a fashion blogger and you want to tag where your pants are from, where your shirt is from, do it in the description as well as in the image, and it's really going to help you. The very last 2 tips I want to share with you guys are actually within your Instagram stories. So if you aren't using Instagram stories are a great way to gain more exposure on Instagram, and really honestly just a great way to connect with your audience and build a more loyal following so that people continue to follow you in the future, and hopefully they get more people to follow you in the long run. So Instagram stories is a great strategy if you're trying to gain more exposure on Instagram, but there are 2 things that you can do. First thing you want to do is include hashtags on Instagram stories. Yes, hashtags hashtags now have their own Instagram story attached to them. So whenever you include that hashtag in your Instagram stories, you have the potential of going to that Instagram story for that specific hashtag. If anyone's watching through that, they could find your profile and go ahead and follow you. So that's a great way to increase your exposure. And then the second trick you want to do, you want to make sure that you are actually tagging your location in anything that is pretty relevant or something that would be interesting and captivating if someone is looking at a specific location Instagram story. So if I am here in Rochester, I would want to tag Rochester, New York. And if I'm talking about anything specific, maybe I'm talking about my SEO services or something like that, that would make sense to then tag Rochester, New York, because anyone that is watching that Instagram story that needs SEO services would hopefully go to my Instagram page and try to hire me. I have actually had that happen once before. Someone found me through the Explore page and ended up hiring me for SEO consultation. So it is actually profitable as well as a good way to gain exposure. So you want to make sure that it is something interesting, captivating. You don't want to always tag your location because then you might not get selected to be featured in your location story, but it is a good idea if you're sharing something interesting and worthwhile that other people would actually want to see. So those are just some simple tips on how you can gain more exposure on your Instagram. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because it does help to support me. And I will see you guys back here in another YouTube video or on the Content Bug very soon. Bye guys!